Mike is a dating coach, and he's with Easy Dating, like E-Z, the letters, right? Easy Dating. Easy.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. And he's here to make your dating life easy. So with that having been said, Mike, I think this is a fun topic that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about 5 things a man says when he's emotionally attached. Now, I want to ask you a question before we jump into the 5 things, because I want to ask you, what is the significance of a man being emotionally attached? Like, why do we need to know this?
Yeah, I built this because it's really boring if a man's just physically attached. Like, okay, cool, he wants to sleep with you. For the most part, men want to sleep with everything. So not that great. But he's actually emotionally attached. He's thinking about commitment. He's thinking about a future with you. And I thought some of these things, some of them are subtle that you might not have thought about. So I built this so that there's no confusion. You know if the guy's into you, as opposed to guessing and being confused. And I hate when women out there are confused, because men can be confusing, and I want to demystify them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the key here is that a man can be physically attracted to you, sexually attracted to you, and connected with you physically without necessarily being connected emotionally. But in order for a relationship to have the foundation underneath it to kind of support a more significant relationship, he also needs to have an emotional attachment to a woman. And so you're going to share with us some ways that we can know if a man has an emotional attachment, or the things that he might say.
Yes.
All right, well, let's jump in then. Let's hear number 1.
Let's go. Oh, yeah. All right. Number 1, this one should be pretty obvious. He says, Michelle, I would like to see you more. Now, this is actually really important. Think about, let me explain the friends with benefits guy. He strategically, and he's thought about this, he's joked about it with his friends, and they've come up with a strategy. And the strategy is, see the woman once a week, never more. And maybe you've seen it in movies. But now men are really executing on that. If they are not serious about you and just want that physical connection with you, they purposely see once a week in hopes of keeping your emotions at bay. They think that's going to do that. And they selfishly build this game plan so that they can have sex with you and hopefully have this last as long as you will allow it. Does that make sense, Michelle?
Yeah, like, so they're kind of stringing you along, giving you just kind of enough to hang on to think that it might turn into something more. Sometimes we call this breadcrumbing. Yes. And so a woman is emotionally attached because usually when a woman is physical or intimate with a man, she's also developing an emotional connection, but he might not be. And so he's stringing her along, and he's like just enjoying the benefits of that relationship without really having any real plans for it to turn into something more significant in terms of a relationship. While on the opposite side, often the woman is thinking, oh, this is really going to go somewhere at some point.
Yeah, and just to come on the other side of this, when he says, I'd like to see you more, that's because he actually wants to get to know you more. If he can get to you 2-3+ times a week, he can start asking questions about who your friends are, who your family is, how'd you grow up, what are your likes, what are your dislikes. And so that's when he starts asking all these questions, wanting to see you, that's him putting a genuine interest in getting to know you. Versus if he just wants to explore you physically, his questions are going to be more about your body and how you like sex versus how you really are and how you feel and what your likes and dislikes are. Right, Michelle?
Yeah, he's going to be more interested in the whole person, like who you really are, what more about your feelings, your interests, your likes, your passions, things that are important to you, your hopes and dreams, your family, and those kinds of things. He's going to be investing more. He's going to be more intentional and more consistent in the way that he shows up.
Yep.
It's a big one.
Yeah,
it's real important.
Thank you. Should we go to number 2?
Yeah, let's go to number 2.
Number 2 is, are you having fun? This is so important. Once again, the guy who doesn't care about you, he doesn't care if you're having fun. The guy who's really emotionally invested in you really wants to know if you're enjoying whatever you're doing. If you're going paddle boarding, if you're on a walk, if you're in a nice park, if you have sex, if you do anything, are you having fun? How is this making you feel? Does that make sense, Michelle?
It does. He's going to have more of a concern for what you enjoy, what makes you happy. He's going to want to create enjoyable, memorable kinds of experiences for you. So he's going to be putting more effort into it. I also think going along with this one, Mike, I think he also, when conditions permit, would be more likely to spend time with you more out in public, or be introducing you to family and friends, or treating you more like you're a girlfriend instead of just, if you're just going to his house, or he's just coming to your place and you're just having sex, people in the outside world could not even know that anything was even going on between the two of you.
Yeah, that makes me laugh. I have this one friend. So I live by the beach, and there's this, in our beach town, there's literally like one, the boardwalk, and then one Pier Ave where like everyone hangs out, where everyone would be. It's a small town. And the women that he was like hooking up with, or the woman, he would never take her there and never hold her hand, because he didn't want the people in the town to realize that like he was seeing this person, because he wasn't serious about her. So like if a man wants to take you, downtown, like that country music song, and hold your hand and make you feel special, that's because he's proud to be seen with you and excited to be next to you, versus my silly friend who is not so excited to be around the woman he is seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's more likely to be planning things like romantic dates for you. He's more likely to be listening to things that you say or things that you share, and maybe planning things around some of your interests. He's going to be putting more effort into it. And so, yeah, he wants you to have fun. He wants you to have an enjoyable experience, and he would be willing to put the effort in to provide that for you. Whereas on the other side, if he's not really emotionally attached, or not really looking for a more meaningful or significant relationship with you, he's just going to kind of enjoy what he can get. It's more about him, what he can get, than it is about you. So this kind of flips that switch where he is caring about you. He's showing care for you.
I love that statement you said. You said it's about what he can get for himself instead of what he can give to her. That's so powerful. That idea is kind of the overarching principle of this whole thing. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to number 3.
Number 3. Let's go. The famous one. All right, number 3. She was making fun of me that I do this earlier before we started filming.
No, it's just I like it because it shows like we're warming up, we're getting ready to go. And so So when I saw you, I found myself like involuntarily just going, woohoo, we're getting ready to go here.
Number 3. All right, let me help you with that. He says,
I love that one. This is like, by the way, this is like aphrodisiac music to a woman's ears to hear that. Let me help you with that.
Listen to this guy. So one of my clients started seeing this guy. They're probably at like 5th date. It was 5th date, excuse me. And he, COVID times, he's at her house. I don't believe they've even slept with each other yet. And he's walking around and he sees that she has a Peloton. And then he's looking at the Peloton and there's some screws on the ground, like 3 screws. And he goes to her. He goes, Karen, what are these screws? She's like, well, I don't know. He's like, oh, no. You ride this thing? She goes, yeah, I ride it like every day. He's like, what if you fell off and you got hurt? Like, I can't let you get hurt. I care so much about you. She's like, I'm sure it's fine. He's like, no. I'm going to rebuild this whole thing. The guy goes online, downloads the Peloton instruction manual, literally takes apart the whole Peloton, builds the whole thing, gets the screws in because he cared about her safety. I don't know. I like that story.
That's a great story. And that's a great example. And that's kind of that theme of what we were just talking about. He's showing care and concern for her. It's not just all about him and what he can get. He's actually showing care and concern for her. And that is a great example. Because let's face it, if a guy is just wanting sex, or he's not really interested in having a more significant relationship with a woman, he's not going to put in that kind of effort. He's going to put in the minimum amount of effort he needs to just kind of keep her available.
Absolutely right.
Like that. It's like that book that came out a number of years ago called He's Not That Into You, right? Where he talks a lot about, the author, I think it's Greg Barrett. Anyway, he talks a lot about how there are a lot of guys that just kind of want to keep a woman on the string and just kind of want to have her as an option. And he talks a lot about how you're not going to make a guy an option, and you're not going to make a guy a priority when he's thinking of you as an option. So when a guy is willing to invest his time, his energy, his effort into something like that, the Peloton bike is a perfect example. That shows he cares, because men tend to, you can probably back me up on this, Mike, men tend to be pretty efficient in how they use energy. That's a nice way of saying it. Sometimes they don't want to put forth a lot of effort, and they don't unless they think that there's a reason for them to invest.
That's 100% right. That Peloton story was all about him putting an effort because he was emotionally attached. He valued her. If he was just trying to get laid, there's no way he was spending however many hours that took for him to fix that Peloton.
Exactly.
So is the guy giving you effort? Because that's his way of showing that he values you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it certainly is one of them for sure. It's a key one, I think, because like I said, most men tend to be energy efficient and they're not going to put energy and effort into something unless they consider it a worthwhile investment. So if he's investing in that way in you, that's definitely a sign that he cares for you, which is very important or significant when it comes to this idea of an emotional connection.
Number four.
Woo!
All right, number 4. This one's huge. He says, stay over. So after you sleep together, or if maybe you're late talking for hours, and he says, stay over. He is all about you. As a busy man, as a successful man, I can assure you, if I don't like a woman, I do not want her to stay over because I got stuff to do in the morning. But if I like a woman, I 100% want her there because I want to spend more time with her. I want to get to know her more. And even more so, if you wake up in the morning, let's say it's a Friday and it turns into a Saturday, is he kicking you out, or does he want to do breakfast and then do an activity? If he's wanting to spend more time with you, he's all in. He's in on you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the point here is he's allowing you into his personal time and into his personal space, right? He wants you in his personal space because, like you say, if he's just interested in sex, he doesn't necessarily want you there in the morning when he has to get up and do whatever it is he has to do.
Yeah, he's starting to commingle. He's got his life, and now he wants to have our life. So he's commingling it because he wants to see what that could feel like. And he clearly likes it. He doesn't want to just be him. He wants to be us now.
Yeah, I do have a question about that, Mike. I want to hear your opinion on this. So my feeling is I always feel nervous if we're going to make any assumptions in a relationship. And we're kind of like sign reading. And I think these are definite signs, and the things that we're talking about are definitely meaningful. I also wonder, though, do you believe that it's important to have some kind of a little conversation around some of these things at some point? What I'm saying is, I don't think you want to make the assumption if something like this happens that you're now a couple, right? I mean, you're saying he's kind of trying the co-mingling thing a little bit, and that may be true, but I still think it's really important for women not to get too far ahead of themselves and make assumptions without having some kind of conversation around this.
Yeah, Michelle, I'm so glad you brought this up because you're 100% right. All the things they're saying are signs, these 5 things, right? But communication is king or communication is queen, and that solves everything. If there's ever any time where you're not sure, you always want to talk it out.
Mm-hmm.
So whether are you exclusive? Should you get off the dating applications? All of that should be discussed. And one of my favorite things, in case for those women that are afraid to ask things, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So vomit whatever you need to say, and the right person is going to hold their ground and love hearing it from you. The wrong person, maybe they exit stage right. And that's exactly what we want to have happen, because the right person is going to be there for you. And I say this over and over again, but we get one person. I don't care if it takes a while to find that person. Let's be patient and let's get it right, because for a lot of us that have broken engagements or gotten divorced, you don't want to do that again. You just want to get it right. So say what you need to say.
Well, I think say what you need to say. And I think sometimes, how do I say this? I think sometimes the energy we bring to that conversation can impact how it goes. I agree with you that the right person is going to be able to hear and receive that and respond. I also think, though, if we have a conversation with a huge amount of attachment to what the answer is going to be, or we're really, really nervous or that kind of thing, it can kind of create a little bit of a, like the other person can feel that energy and kind of be a little on guard. So sometimes I think it can be just as simple as saying something to someone like, I'm just really enjoying our time together. And, I can see us really exploring to see what could happen here. And I'm just checking in, just wondering if you're on the same page, just wondering what you're thinking. Like, okay, I realize maybe it's a risk to say something like that, but wouldn't you rather know? And it's not like we have to have a big 1-hour conversation about it.
Yeah. The thing that resonated with me with what you just said, and I thought was like the biggest gold nugget, was don't be attached to the outcome. I know that's difficult, but if you get to that point, oh my God, it's so sexy for a man and for a woman to feel like, they're not attached to what my answer is, so I can respond freely. And think about how powerful that is as well. Now you're getting their real answer, not the one they think that you want to hear because they're feeling nervous, because maybe they're feeling pressured, and maybe you've got a people pleaser that wants to make you happy. Even the people pleaser, you want him to give his authentic answer. So if you're not attached to the answer because you've got such an amazing life where it's like, if they want me, cool. If they don't want me, I'm out. Like, what do I care? My life rocks.
Right. Right. Yeah, because, if we're really, really attached to a certain answer or a certain outcome, someone else is going to feel that. They're going to feel that, the energy of that. So if you approach it from a place of confidence when you're like, hey, you know what? I know I'm all that in a bag of chips, and this guy is going to be lucky if he's with me. And you're just kind of checking in, that confidence and that, you're just exploring, like you're just, just checking in, just seeing if we're kind of in the same page. Then you are empowered to make the decision that's right for you, whether you're going to continue to stay investing to getting to know this person better, or if you're thinking, you know what, he's just not in the same place. I'm moving on, because I want to find someone who's just as into me, who wants to be with me in the same way that I want to be with them.
100% yes.
Amen. Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah, Michelle's got it.
All right. So what's number 5? Did you have any more you want to say on that one, or are we good? Okay, we're good.
I'm good. Let's roll.
Okay.
Number 5. Of a thing a man says when he's emotionally attached. This is the big one. The big one, the L word. He says, I love you.
Mhm.
For a lot of you women out there, you're probably not the person that said it first.
Right.
Usually let the guy say it. So I want to tell you from the male perspective, it is freaking terrifying, especially to say it pretty quickly and early in a relationship, to say, I love you. Because it is the most horrendously horrible feeling in the world. And I think some of you can probably relate to this, to not get it back.
Right.
You're basically like, here is my heart. I love you. And then you're like, please give it back with the also I love you.
Right. Right. Don't leave me out here on the limb here.
Yeah. So if he says that, he's in. He's emotionally attached.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a real biggie for sure. It's kind of like my husband says, no man should propose to a woman unless he already knows what the answer is.
That is true.
I mean, obviously there are some that have and do, but that doesn't always go so well. And I do think that it's an emotional risk, because then a man is really putting himself out there when he says that. Now, the only, I guess, caveat to that would be maybe if he's just like a real player and schmoozer and just kind of uses words like that to manipulate someone. But I think that would be the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah, that's definitely the exception. But look at all these things. The player's probably not saying, I'd like to see you more. He's not asking, are you having fun? Let me help you with that. He's not rebuilding your Peloton.
Right.
He's not saying stay over. So all these things are just, symptoms of what the disease is, if you will, the disease of love. So if a lot of these are just signs that someone's emotionally attached. And then, of course, we still got communication like, hey, are we exclusive? Hey, how do you feel about me? Are you off the dating apps? Can I meet your friends? Can I meet your family? What are we doing in 6 months? What's our plan? What's your plan for 5 years from now? And if all these answers come back to things that are acceptable to you, then great. If they're not acceptable, that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of our key takeaways here is you want to read the signs, you want to look for the signs, but you also don't want to make assumptions. You want to have open communication. And I know that can feel scary, and it is scary on one level because you do potentially risk not hearing what you want to hear or rejection. But I believe when it comes to love and dating and romance, man, the truth will set you free.
It totally will, in every aspect of it. It's great.
Yeah, like I would much rather have someone know earlier on and be grounded in the truth than be caught up in a fantasy of thinking something is different than it actually really is. Because that's where people really get set up for heartbreak. That's why there's the book out there, He's Just Not That Into You, because so many women just hanging on to like these little scraps of encouragement or this little bit of hope and hoping that the guy's going to suddenly realize how much he wants to be with her, or that the relationship's going to suddenly morph into something different than what it is. When we're grounded in reality and truth, it really does set us free so that we can be empowered to make the right decision for us.
Absolutely. We as love coaches, we always talk about how authenticity, which bleeds into confidence, is the most attractive quality in both sexes. And there's been scientific studies that have documented this. And so on top of that, the easiest lie is telling the truth, right? So as a man, if you're living in that authenticity, if you're a man that's just trying to have sex and you're saying, hey, I just want to have sex, men don't believe me, but you will have sex more often. And if you are a man that comes out and says, hey, I want a relationship, I want to get married, well, that's what you get. It's all, it kind of comes back to laws of attraction, but all the way back, it's hinged on authenticity and confidence. And the easiest way to be authentic and confident is to tell the truth. So for men out there that think they can lie and get their way into people's bedrooms, stop. You actually get into the bedroom more by telling the truth. And women, if you're looking to have sex or looking to get a relationship, it is so freaking hot if you authentically and confidently say, hey, I want to get married one day, or hey, I'm looking for my life partner.
Mm-hmm.
The right guy, like me, who right now at this stage of my life is looking for life partnership, if a woman says she's looking for that, I go, ooh, and I get big-eyed. That does not scare me away, a man that wants that. A man that's just looking to get laid, he does get scared away, and that's great because that's exactly what you want to happen instead of having some situationship for 6 months that ends in nothing and you call your dating coach and are upset. We don't want that for you either. So just put it out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I think having deep clarity about what it is you really want. And people think they have that, but a lot of people don't. They're still a little wishy-washy. Like it's kind of like having one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. And so when you have that clarity from within and you know what you want and you have the confidence and clarity to say the truth, to speak those words, even if you feel like it risks scaring someone off, you're much more likely to end up getting what you want. So it's incredibly important, incredibly powerful. Yep. Yep.
That's right. I agree.
I want to ask you, for people that maybe didn't like do a lot in terms of like dating or anything like that in 2020, but they want to think of this new year as a new opportunity, even though we're still kind of moving through this pandemic situation, what words of advice would you have at the beginning of a new year for people that want to set that intention to find love this year?
Yes. So right now we're in coronavirus time. And even if we finish this cycle and you're watching this a few years later, first of all, I've gotten 4 people engaged during coronavirus. And so right now people are so wanting to come together with people, human connection. So it is an amazing time to date. So if you're watching this for the first time, beginning of 2021, first off, January is always the biggest online dating time of the year.
Yep.
Biggest period. Every year. New Year's resolution, find your person. Get on there. There's going to be the most people on there ever. Number 2, because there's so many intricacies going on right now, whether it be, politics, segmenting people, whether it be mask and coronavirus, segmenting people, it's causing difficult conversations to happen a lot sooner, which is allowing people to really connect a lot faster and have better conversations sooner about whether people see eye to eye in terms of different ideologies. So right now is the best, most intimate time to date, possibly ever. I've been doing this for well over 10 years, and people are just getting together faster now and having better conversations. So my suggestion to you is get online. My suggestion always is treat it like a numbers game, a science experiment, be detached from the outcome until, until you're with the guy for 3 months, but at least on date 6, be totally detached from the man until he shows up for 6 dates plus, and just keep getting the numbers out there until you find someone that you are enamored with and they are enamored with you, and go wild.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. And, it has been an interesting time. And I too have had so many clients this year, in 2020, this last year, make amazing connections, meet incredible people, and many of them form relationships or get engaged. However, I think, it does require a little bit of creativity, and it does require a little bit of dancing with kind of some different parameters than maybe we've had in the past. But you know what? One of the key things I think is happening right now too, Mike, in addition to the things you mentioned, is that a lot of people, both women and men, are recognizing how important it is to have partnership in their life, that they really want someone in their life. And a lot of people that maybe were so busy or distracted, maybe their lives have slowed down a little bit because they're not able to do everything they once did, and they have the time and energy to focus on this. And they're realizing it's important in terms of putting this as a priority in their lives. And I work with women, but I've had conversations with some single men this year. And I mean, a couple of them literally were pouring out their hearts to me about how much they've realized. These are mature men, 40s and 50s, how much they've realized how much they want partnership, because they're like, going through this alone has not been fun. It would have been a lot nicer to have the right person here with me during this time. So I think it's brought that to the surface, not just for women, but also for a lot of men. And I also think there's also opportunity for all of us to do some of our inner work and to, learn some things about ourselves that can also help set us up for a great relationship. So like looking for the opportunity in the midst of conditions that might seem less than ideal. I think that's what we have the chance to create here.
Totally 100% agree with all of that.
So Mike, always super fun to connect with you. And thanks so much for what you've shared. And for everybody watching, looking forward to seeing you for more. Bye for now.
Thank you for having me.